Yeah, it's your boy, Perfect Harmony. I'm back with another video, going crazy. But nah, what we working on today, I'm gonna show y'all how I use reverb, man. And reverb of choice today is Valhalla Vintage Verb. I'm sure everybody probably got this by now. It's like become an industry standard. You feel me? I use it all the time. It's fire. Trust me. All right, let's get into verb. Okay, so when I'm going for verb, it's really all about what type of verb I want to go for. You know what I'm saying? Usually if I'm doing like some melodic stuff, I kind of want to go with an airy type of reverb that's kind of sitting over the top, not really messing with the bottom meat of the vocal. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and turn this on. I just want to really show y'all how I use reverb. It's no right or wrong way. You can use it however you choose, but this just how I use reverb, and you know how I get the vocal to sit and get the reverb to blend with the vocals instead of the reverb overshadowing the vocals. You know what I'm saying? So let's start. So when I'm working on a song, I don't really got nothing loaded right now. I should have loaded a beat or something. But when I'm working on a song, usually I turn the mix way up so I can hear the reverb, because I want to hear what it's doing. Right now it's just too much. Turn the decay down. You can see how it's making the room smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Pre-delay, super small, a little tight room. You know what I'm saying? The more pre-delay, the more further back the reverb starts from, basically. Kind of like, not attack, but it's basically, let me turn this off. Not attack, but basically it's how far you're moving the reverb back from the starting point of the vocal. You know what I'm saying? So let's turn it back on. So if I move the pre-delay back, you'll hear more of the beginning of the vocal. You see what I'm saying? So now you're hearing more and more beginning of the vocal, more beginning of the vocal. Let's bring the reverb all the way back to the front. See, now it's tight on the start of the vocal. You know what I mean? And there's plenty of ways to get this right. How I get it right is basically turning it up to where it's over loud, like it's super duper loud over everything. And then I fit it in where it sounds like it's maybe in a arena or a club or whatever type of setting I can fit in the song within the time signature of the song. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of things you can use to get it accurate, but I kind of use my ears now. I used to use like, if you go online to this website right here, it's on a website called anotherproducer.com, and this will give you the delay and reverb time. So you just type in the BPM, which is the tempo of your beat here. So we got 162. So we got 162. And that'll give you all the delay times and the decay time. So for a hall, it'll be 46.3, 29, 16.67. And this depends on whatever tempo or BPM that you put here. That'll give you any type of sound you want to have without washing over the vocal. It'll basically, it's like syncing it with the tempo. You know what I mean? So for a hall at the tempo of 162, the pre-delay would be 46.3. A large room, if you choose that type of reverb, it'll be 23.15. If you choose a small room, if you want that type of feel, 11.57. If you want tight ambience, that's 2.89 milliseconds. You know what I mean? And the decay times are here as well. So sometimes if I can't get it to sit right, I'll come to something like this, use this, input that time within whatever reverb I'm using. Let me say that again. Take the pre-delay and the decay time from the reverb time calculator, input that into something like the Valhalla Vintage Verb. I would enter that like right here. We'll enter whatever that was. Let's see what that was. So for a hall, it'd be 46.3. Pre-delay, 46.3. And then the decay time would be 29, 16.67. And what I usually do for that, since it's in seconds on the Valhalla Vintage Verb, I just move the decimal place over. So basically it's 2.916. So 2.91. So that would be the decay time. So this is what I'll use if I can't get it to sit. But usually I try to use my ears, because you can get it to sound even better than this, you can get it sound like an arena type style, like you're in an intimate setting. Any type of reverb space or space, you can kind of use the decay time and the pre-delay to get that feeling. So the first thing you want to do is make sure when you got your beat loaded, the tempo, you got the right tempo set. You know what I'm saying? That's how you want to get your reverbs and your delays all the way right all the time, is making sure you have the correct tempo set. All right, so once you drag in the beat, you want to make sure the tempo is set correctly. And what I usually use for tempo, I usually use a program called Mixed in Key. And that'll give you usually the tempo and the key of the song. You know what I mean? If you don't have something like auto key by auto-tune. You know what I mean? So once you got the tempo set, go ahead and play the beat. Turn on the reverb. Yo, I usually turn the mix way up so I can hear the reverb, like too much reverb. And then you play with the decay time to get it to fit within the beat where it's not washing over the next bar of the beat. So this is little decay. That sounds good to me. You can always turn the mix down and see how it fits with your vocal. Yeah. Gotta move, ain't playing with the, gotta, with the, Then I usually take some of the lows out, using the EQ. Then I usually take some of the verb out, using the EQ on the Valhalla Vintage Verb. So with that, you just go here, cut out some lows. Cut out some of them highs. I don't usually like too much highs unless it's a real dark song and I kind of want to brighten it up. But I don't want the reverb to be overshadowing stuff like hi-hats and stuff like that. Okay? So let's turn this mix down. Shema gonna in a Shema, she want my she in a Shema, alright. So once you load in your beat, always turn up your mix knob so you can super hear the reverb. So you want to overly hear the reverb. You know what I mean? And then you adjust the reverb to your liking, making it fit within the space or the time of the song, and also where it starts with the pre-delay. Once you got that set, you could turn the mix knob down and it won't be so much reverb. You know what I mean? So you just mix it in to taste where it's not overbearing. You know what I mean? So you can see how important the pre-delay and the decay time is. Those are really the main things you want to use on a reverb, along with the mix knob. Those three things are the key. You can always add an EQ after. It's always good if your reverb does have an EQ section in it, but if you don't, you can add a EQ after. But you need that pre-delay and that decay time to tell you how big your room is, also where the reverb is starting compared to where the vocal is starting. You know what I mean? So you blend that start time and how big the reverb is to your liking. It's plenty of different types of reverb. You got hall, you got spring reverb, room, and they all kind of sound different, but they all gonna have that decay time and pre-delay. I usually like to use a hall, you know what I mean? Or a chamber if I'm trying to do something dark. A lot of times on vocal as well, I use plates, you know what I mean? Because they kind of like big in the back and they not like super bright, you know what I mean? Halls are kind of bright. Chambers are a little bit darker. You got smooth room and all the extra different types of rooms, sanctuary like a church, you can get that feel. So that's pretty much how I use reverb. Like I said, that mix knob, decay, and the pre-delay is everything. All the other stuff is just like bells and whistles. But the main three components of a reverb is the decay, the pre-delay, and the mix knob. With that, I can make any reverb sound pretty good. You know what I'm saying? But using those techniques of turning it way up so you can hear it and actually work on it, and then turn the mix knob down, is how you get your reverb to sit better in the mix without being overbearing. Man, if you like tutorials like this, you want to see your boy again, tell somebody, tell a friend. See you on the next one. Holla at your boy.